All right, I'm Zack Day, co-founder and director of brew operations at Funkytown Brewery, and this is Brewer to Brewer podcast from All About Beer. Today is a special day. My guest is Elliott Johnson of Soul Mega, and he is here for a conversation that goes beyond the brew house and into topics that matter to brewing professionals and curious beer drinkers. First, please visit allaboutbeer.com and follow on social media at allaboutbeer. And to support journalism in this space, check out allaboutbeer.com/support. We'll get into the conversation in just a moment, but first, this message.
Malteurop has long been a pillar of North American malting, and they're growing to meet the needs of the modern brewer. Their brand new warehouse expansion at the Winona, Minnesota Malt House marks a new chapter in their commitment to service and reliability. With increased capacity and optimized logistics at the Winona hub, Malteurop is delivering the quality you expect with the speed you need. Discover the Malteurop difference at malteuropmaltingco.com.
This episode is sponsored by John I. Haas on their new LupoCore Enhanced T90 hop pellets, engineered for peak sensory performance and ultimate peace of mind. Designed for brewers of all sizes, LupoCore delivers consistent sensory outcomes, reliable brewhouse performance, and scalable application across production volumes. Using Sensory Plus selected hops and Haas's advanced pellet processing technology, LupoCore elevates hop expression while reducing brew process loss, all without requiring brewers to change their process. Contact your Haas Sales Representative or visit lupohops.com to learn more.
What if the secret to a better batch of beer started before fermentation ever began? By understanding the way water chemistry impacts the sensory quality of finished beer, and by analyzing fermentation and other data, brewers can control sensory aspects of their product like never before. Sanos put together a free ebook that breaks down water chemistry fundamentals every brewer should know. No fluff, just the fundamentals. Download Water Chemistry for Brewers at senos.com. That's SENNOS.com.
Here's a story brewers know all too well. You walk into the brewery straight to the tank. You pull a sample to do a forced diacetyl test and you wait for it in silence. Something feels not quite right. You reach into the water bath and bring the flask to your nose, and it's a butter bomb. The logistics start running through your head. Do we hold the tank? We have accounts waiting. How many days until it clears? And then you wake up and remember that you use Berkeley Yeast Fresh Chico. It's got ALDC inside every cell, so diacetyl never forms in the first place. Through primary, through dry hopping and hop creep, diacetyl stays ultra low. So you don't have to add ALDC or wait for diacetyl to clean up. And most importantly, you don't have to wake up in a cold sweat worrying about production nightmares like these. Fresh Chico is now available in dried bricks for as low as $88 at berkeleyyeast.com.
All right, welcome. I am super stoked, super pleased to have Elliott Johnson as my guest today. Elliott is the co-founder and CEO of Soul Mega, a Washington, D.C.-based craft beer brand on a mission to make great beer and more inclusive, creative, and culturally connected. What started as a homebrewing hobby has grown into an award-winning brand now found throughout the Mid-Atlantic. Earlier this year, Elliott was named the winner of the Sam Adams Brewing the American Dream Experience-ship. Before taking the leap in entrepreneurship full-time, he spent more than 15 years building a career in finance at, guess what? You guessed it, Nassau. Today, he is focused on growing Soul Mega by bringing together great beer and creative arts. Man, my homie, my friend, my brother in beer, Elliott, brother, man, welcome to the conversation. And how you doing, superstar? How you doing?
Hello, sir. Good morning. Yeah, I'm doing great, man. It's it's a beautiful day. appreciate you having me on the show, man. It's awesome.
So E, we've known each other for a while now, right? And one thing I've always appreciated is that you never seem to, how can I put it, separate beer from culture, right? So beer is almost the vehicle for something bigger. Has that always been the vision for Soul Mega, or is that something that like evolved as Soul Mega grew?
No, that's always been the vision, even when it came down from trying to figure out what we were gonna call like our organization. I started my homebrew journey, I want to say 2011, but we didn't really start getting into the brand stuff until like 2016, 17. And so our goal was to try to find something that represented what we thought were going to be a collection of people that were like finding something in common. So Omega, the idea behind the brand is like celebrating the pursuit of passion and like the creative arts. So like anybody who's into something or like they got something going on the side or anybody has a drive, they're like Soul Omega. So we were trying to make it more like a lifestyle brand than just a product.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Was there, I know you said that you started it from the beginning, right? Like that was the intention.
Yeah.
uh and sometimes action and what our intentions are don't match, or the responses don't match what we're trying to do sometimes. Was there a moment where you was like, okay, you know what, I know this was the intention, but yeah, we are building a little bit more than a brewery?
Yeah, I think it might have been a little bit of the reverse. I think when we first started, people were trying to put us just in the beer box and they were misinterpreting what the brand actually stood for.
Mhm.
And part of that was kind of on me. I had to learn how to kind of talk about it in a more holistic approach because, you know, obviously we're leading with product for this vertical, it's a beer product, right? And when we ended up having the events down the line. But it's funny, we started off like our first Soul Mega event was a basically like a beer education event where we brought our homebrew kegs to one of my buddy's bars. He let us like take over the tap and we had like placemats and like we kind of walked people through like how to enjoy craft beer and like that was kind of the first steps to try to say, okay, like when you think about Soul Mega, we don't think about, I don't want people to think about it just the product. It's kind of about like what they've experienced while they had the product or how they feel.
Mhm.
So I think it's important to keep, for me, it's like to keep hammering that message. And I had to get good at that. I'm not really used to like, like my background is kind of like more behind the computer. So getting out there and like being vocal about it over and over again was something I had to learn.
So, speaking of the message, right? Like the message that you want to convey and the message that you're conveying. One thing I feel like that stands out with you guys, Soul Mega, is when people talk about events. So you talked about like music, the art, the collaborations, as much as kind of beer itself. Um, was there any, like, what kind of events do you guys like to focus on to kind of bring that out?
Yeah, so we like to focus on music events. That's just, that's something that all of us on the team are really passionate about. I actually used to play instruments when I was younger, but I have
Hmm.
not done that in a while. Yeah, I used to play the saxophone and percussion, I guess. I wasn't that good at the drum set, but I was more of like, like xylophone, timpani, bass drum, all that stuff. Yeah, so our events are like, um, historically, our one of our marquee events has been MegaFest, and we've done this. I want to say this will be our fourth year coming up, and that was just my idea, try to find a way to remix beer fest culture, right? So like, we're from Chicago, the block parties, and like you grow up seeing like the Bud Billiken Parade and like all these neighborhoods or High Park Beer Fests. What kind of inspired me. Because that fest was going on in my grandma's neighborhood. I was just trying to find a way in DC to take, the beer fest culture and the block party culture and smash it in the middle to knock two birds out with one stone, two different audiences. And so a lot of our events focus on like music. So we have different DJ sets. We partner with DJs. We also do stuff with graffiti artists. All of our cans have local mural artists on them. So what became is just music is now kind of really morphing into like a whole like creative arts fair, if you will, and like kind of a cultural thing. So that's kind of two lanes we're playing there right now. We do some active lifestyle stuff as well. Like we sponsor a run club when they have a big marathon every year that we have beer for the runners afterwards because that's a carb reloader. And I've been dabbling around with some more of my interests. I play golf, and so this was our first year co-producing a golf tournament, but we usually just sponsor them. So just trying to find different ways to get the liquid in people's hands when they're doing something else.
I mean, you got a lot of different ideas out there and a lot of activations that are sounds fantastic, sounds super dope. Are you ever this? this is follow up, I guess, to that. And you know, we're talking about mashing up and remixing and changing beer culture and the message. Are you ever worried that people won't get it in craft beer?
Um, I'm not worried people won't get it. I see people not getting it, but and this could be something. This is my personality. I'm one of those. I'm like super kind of like optimistic. It's to my detriment sometimes. So like I'm gonna hammer it. You're gonna get it. Like you're gonna get this work. Like you have to get it today, but you're gonna get it. I'm not. I'm gonna have to keep pressing the button until people realize it. But I am. I think I'm not worried, but I am aware that the adaption it could be slower for certain audiences than others.
Okay. Well, going off of the optimistic viewpoint, how optimistic were you guys when you entered into the Sam Adams Brewing the American Dream Experience competition?
Um, I
Like, I
okay.
know there's maybe be a fine line between like optimistic and confident, or kind of where did you fit in with that? Because I know that could be a kind of nerve rattling thing being up there in front of all those
Yeah,
people.
man. I'll tell you, I can walk you through the whole thing. Like when I first applied, I was excited because you know, we've been in business for almost 7 years, but we haven't really entered into that many competitions, if you will. And I mean, I like to compete, and so I was just like, okay, like, well, let's just see, let's just put it out there because if we get to the final round, like that alone was a little bit more validation for me. That when I
Right.
got selected, I was excited. It's like, yeah, okay, this is great. Like I was super amped. And then when I figured out who all was I was competing against, it wasn't that I was nervous per se. Um, I was just I don't know, like I just felt excited to get a chance to put our beer out there in an audience. I live in DC. I go to New York all the time. Like at one point I was living there and going back and forth. So it kind of felt like home court to me a little bit.
Okay.
Just a
Okay.
little bit, like
Okay.
a tiny bit. So I kind of felt a little confident. I was okay. Well, like, I know I've been going
Pop it then.
I've been going there since college. So my cousin's from Brooklyn. Like we were in Brooklyn. So, that was pretty cool. So I think I was it was cool to hear about everybody else's story. I got a chance to hang out with all the contestants for the news interview, and then shout out to Raj from Oak Park. I already knew him, and so I'd been to his brewery in
Good people.
Sacramento
Good people.
already. So I didn't know what he was bringing, but I was like, okay, I brought an IPA, he brought an IPA, and his was really good, and so I was kind of a little nervous, but also, and shout out to you guys. I will say, and I told somebody came to my table because at the competition they put all the previous winners' photos on the wall, so I'm looking over and I see, Greg, Rich, Zach. I see Maul, Damon. I see T.O., Benny. I see my man from Chula Vista. I see Julia Rob from Checker Spot. I know all these people. So I'm like,
Mhm.
man, like, so I was like, I want to be up there too. Like I feel left out. So you guys kind of inspired me. You guys motivated me to step up because I'm following in your footsteps. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, what you bring up a memory of mine too. Like when you said that you were there and you were looking at all the previous winners and you saw folks that you knew and kind of grabbed some inspiration from that. I remember when I was taking a class at at Siebel, and I'm walking down the hall and it has all these master brewers, right? All the pictures of these master brewers on the wall. And while there were a few African American, black and brown that were on that wall, it wasn't a whole lot. You know what I mean? So that was like an extra kind of motivating step to study a little bit harder when I was in class. So I'm wondering if that was kind of the same kind of inspiration that you were getting when you were kind of seeing your contemporaries, some of your friends in the space, uh, kind of winning and being put in a position to kind of be in the forefront. Wanted to know how that kind of made you feel there with that inspiration.
Yeah, I think subconsciously it definitely has something to do with it. I get a lot of my motivation, inspiration from like my environment, other people. So, it's kind of like a if they can do it, I can do it
Mhm.
type thing. But also for me, it was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna be myself. Like I'm gonna tell the brand story, explain to people about my views on what they were drinking and like the audience was pretty cool because you had like the craft beer like savants basically, and then you
Yep.
just had like a lot of young people who were there because it was open bar.
Say it. Say
Yeah,
it.
and like yeah, one I only saw one person get like too lit, but overall it was cool. So yeah, I'm pulling from everything like the people next to me like hearing their stories and saying just like okay like everybody's kind of in the same boat, but at different, I guess, like parts of the ocean.
You mentioned being yourself, and it kind of speaks to authenticity, right? So I know we've brewed together before,
Hmm.
and one thing,
Yeah, we're not right now, actually.
yeah, actually, right?
Shout out to Dolls.
Go ahead if you wanted to, because I know you guys got, and now I'll follow up with the question, but I know you guys got your version of the collaboration coming out pretty soon, right?
Yeah, we're aiming to drop it. It looks like it's gonna be towards the winter, like in the year. I think they're waiting for the seasons to change because they're going
Gotcha,
for a darker beer. So the
gotcha.
goal was to do it like a lighter beer for summer and then something for the winter.
Well, we've done this together, right? And so I've noticed that collaboration beers, at least in our aspect, is kind of rarely about the recipe. The recipe is kind of thrown in there too, like it has meaning, especially with this dollhouse and this beer culture center thing that we're doing. But I've really noticed that they're about relationships. What makes a collaboration worth doing for you?
So we've done some pretty sick collabs so far, which I shamelessly plug them real quick. I mean, I'm gonna rattle off something I can remember. I mean, we got some of the big dogs like Stone and New Belgian and Trogs. We've got, Green Bench, Funky Town, Blue Jacket. Oh my God. Cinderlands in Pittsburgh. We're gonna drop that actually in a couple days for Barrel and Flow. Uh,
So,
yeah, we've done a lot. So for me, it's in my immediate peer group. I think it's all about relationship and like just getting the chance to like hang out and learn. Like I hit Chris from Green Bench about doing the collab, and like I want to work with him because I respect what he's doing. But also, like, he's a really, 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 really knowledgeable on this stuff. And like I call him like the mad scientist. So we did a West Coast Pale with Fonio last, I think it was October, and I just got a chance to sit in the brew house with him all day. And luckily for me, my best friend from college used to live across the street from Green Bench. I had been going there for a while, but I just soaking up game from him was
really?
great. I mean, he's got he pulled the book out on me and like he said some technical term and I didn't know what he was talking about. He's like opens up the book. I was like, look. I was like, oh, like got it. Um yeah, so for me it's like more of like is there a way to amplify a collective message? Is there a way to showcase a capability? And is there a way to just work with your homies? Those are like my three like collab kind of the thought processes I'm going through when I think about them.
Have you ever turned down something because maybe or possibly didn't feel authentic?
Have I ever turned down a collab? No, I mean, honestly, most of the time I'm the one asking about the collabs. No one really comes to me for no one's like hitting my line. I'm usually the one like, excuse me, sir, like you like Mr. Mr. Brewer, like, can you please help me? Can we work together? Yeah, maybe one. Yeah, I've turned down like there's been like during COVID, there was a couple of like, like George Floyd type, stuff or like some
Mhm.
things going on Juneteenth that I didn't feel like were all genuine. So I turned those down, but not really the collabs.
So, reading through the bio, right? Man is in Nassau for 15 years, right? And I, so I could see how finance um, could bleed over into some aspect of beer business. My guys, my co-founders, the other owners with me, they have degrees in business and degrees in marketing, right? So they take care of the business and the marketing aspect of the business, right? But me, I graduated with a criminal justice degree, and that doesn't equate to making beer, right? So, what's something from Nassau that unexpectedly made you like a better brewery owner?
Oh man, because I was doing both at the same time, for pretty much I left NASA in January of this year officially. So from 2019 when we started, so January, I was basically had two full-time jobs. Um, I would say a lot of the cash flow management stuff, I really like. Okay, so they're not that similar, and I say this all the time, like we you're if you're building a satellite, you've got to go all the way from sourcing vendors for the raw material to what we call TDR, technology readiness. And CRD, I mean technology readiness, which is like in some people's case, they're making like test batches, right? You're figuring out what works, and you scale up to a full prototype, which would be a packaged product, and then you've got to get it out in market, whether it be launch, quote unquote, and put it in space and make sure it works, which could be the similar as launching a product and putting it in the market and seeing what people think. So I think there's a lot of similarity in the supply chain management. When it comes to the business side, I mean, being familiar with the balance sheet and a P&L or an income statement and a cash flow statement is like super crucial because you got to know, especially our business, but we're on net 30 and like,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing distro, or if you're doing direct to consumer, like you got to know where your dollars are and when they're coming in. And with NASA, the easier part about beer is like, you make a batch of beer, it takes about 3 to 6 weeks, and then you get paid, I guess, 30 days later. But like, we got 30-year projects at work. So there was a project that launched last year. We started when I got there in '09. So that whole time is like you're kind of like going through like back and forth stuff. So I think that was definitely something I carried in the beer business. Risk management and things like that, just like understanding like the um the feasibility of an idea. I think
Mm-hmm.
at some scale, obviously it's different when you're talking about like aerospace stuff because there's a lot more components. But there's some recipes I had that we haven't made yet because it doesn't make any sense. I couldn't sell it for the right price, or the ingredients cost too much to make. So yeah, like procurement, supply chain management, and project management, I guess could be one too. Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff.
So, what would be Soul Mega's biggest struggle? Yeah, so less than 1% of the industry is black owned. And even though we're all different breweries, we still have our struggles that we either share or have independently. What are some of Soul Mega's biggest struggles?
I think right now, for us, 'cause we're at this weird inflection point where like we are starting to kind of prepare for like hyperscaling. I think it's having the bankroll to be able to sit on that comfortably and kind of flesh out some of the ideas in their entirety instead of maybe having to piecemeal them together. Also, we contract brew, so we don't have control over our production schedule per se, which is like an extra layer of like I guess strategy because if we had a situation last year where like demand kind of spiked in our Maryland market and like we have a basically we kind of estimate how long we have until we run out of beer. We have like an inventory management thing, but like it threw the whole thing off. But we couldn't get on the schedule to make another batch for a couple of reasons. So like we end up running out of beer, and like that's just not cool.
Or
But, yeah, I would say like having like multiple years of runway would be nice. We don't have that right now. I'm working on that right now, and then being able to have a little bit more control over when we're able to make beer and package it are two of our current struggles.
is there any hopes or dreams or plans for you guys' own facility, or is contract something that you guys are going to do for
We I think for the short term, we're going to continue to use our contract partners to help scale the brand.
Mm.
I think there is a possibility for us to bring production in-house on the long term, but that's not in our immediate goals for the next 2 years.
Got you, got you. So this weekend is huge, right? There's a big festival
Oh yeah.
in Pittsburgh this weekend. And you've been involved in that for a while now, and spaces like Barrel and Flow, help create space for brewers who, I guess, what can we say, historically don't have or haven't had that much visibility.
Mhm.
So looking back, what impact do you think those efforts actually had? Like, was it changed for the better? Has there been stuff that hasn't changed enough? Kind of what's been the experience with, I guess, community and representation?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you from, I went to the first event in Pittsburgh, and I think it was when we first started in 2019. It was called Fresh Fest then. I would not, and I told Dave this last year. I do think there has been a tremendous impact, not only for what they were able to create in the city of Pittsburgh, but also I think, awareness around these brands. And from like an attendee standpoint, I'm seeing it getting bigger and bigger, but also I'm seeing more and more brands be a part of this. So in 2019, it was like maybe, I don't know, like 20 beer brands and some collabs or something. And now it's like this huge thing that this stacks at Three Crossings.
Yep.
So I think they've done a really good job with with their promo, getting recognized in USA Today. All that stuff matters, even if it's a little small thing. It's putting the festival on the map, it's putting Pittsburgh on the map, but it's also letting people know, like, hey, like, we got this thing going on, and there's these brands. I mean, I meet new people every year, and I'm like, oh shit, like, I didn't even know about these people. Like, oh shit, like, and it's not just beer now. Now it's like Bev Alc, right? And it's like people that have what I'm calling, like, maybe vertically integrated businesses to the alcohol industry that are involved. So I think it's great. I think it's cool. We had a couple people. I think it was in 2023, and maybe even last year. I didn't really. Last year was a little bit much because it rained during our Mega Fest, but our shit's usually like a month or two after Barrel and Flow. And but I did know in 2023 that like a few people from Barrel and Flow came from like the Pittsburgh area to DC. So that was pretty cool. So I
Are you
think
seeing more and more people come up there from like this at Barrel and Flow and
well,
coming to Mega Fest?
I
Like,
don't
is it?
last year I don't think there was many. But also it rained, dude. Like I had a grand scheme and had this huge block party, and I
Isn't
got
that
about,
always as it happens?
yeah, right. I got a quarter of the attendance. They didn't leave, but I didn't get. So I'm sure maybe there could have been some people who were thinking about coming in town, but maybe they saw the weather forecast. But I will say this: there's a gentleman out here, who's always at the farmers markets. He has this oh man, don't. I hope he doesn't get mad if I mess this up, but I believe it's either a like a bottled cocktail, or like a mixer. But
Hmm.
he hit me and was like, "Hey, like, I got invited to Barrel and Flow." And he was like asking for like advice about what to do. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like, so the reach seems like it's getting bigger outside of the beer brands.
I
Uh,
mean,
and this
Barrel and Flow
region,
is,
I'm on the East Coast, like, so I don't know if it trickles over to Midwest and West, but in like the Mid Atlantic kind of East Coast region, I think it's getting a lot of attention.
yeah, we try to push it as much as we can out here, and we tell folks if there's not one beer festival that you go to a year, one that you have to go to is Barrel and Flow.
Yeah.
I remember working, we were working on this beer stuff, trying to get things off the ground, uh, and thinking that we were working in like a silo. Like there wasn't a whole bunch of black and brown folks that drank beer because it wasn't exposed to us like that.
Hmm.
Um, and then we found word about this place and about this festival, and we went there. And I always remember when we came back, or as we're in there. I think it was 2019. So we were probably there at the same time, just didn't know each other.
Yeah, probably.
Um, but it felt like a family reunion, right? Like it was one of those times where the owners of the company or the owners of the business are out there speaking to you, serving the beer, talking to you about the beer, educating you about the beer. And I know once we had seen that, that was the springboard that we needed as soon as we got back home. So I'm in a constant push for everybody to just keep going to Barrel and Flow, formerly known as Fresh Fest, because it's something to behold if you've never been before. So, um, have you ever been? You talked about the Mega Fest and how it got rained out, and it got me thinking. Like, have you ever been? Has there ever been an idea where you were convinced that would work, but just like basically flopped?
Yeah, all the time. All the time. Oh man, all the time. Man, like yeah, most of like Mega Fest is like, so we have two, right? We have Mega Fest, we have Kegs and Eggs. Kegs and Eggs goes on during Howard Homecoming. That's kind of like built in. Like we've been doing it started off in my buddy's backyard. That has way more draw given the time of year it is. Than Mega Fest is still kind of like a work in progress for me. So I would say that's not that it flopped, but it doesn't do sometimes as well as I think it's gonna do. I've had like campaigns, if you will, or like things that I've done on a smaller level that like people didn't react to very well. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with stuff not going how I plan. I'm more about like just trying it because I can go back and tweak certain things. But if I never try it, then I'll never know if it was gonna work or not. So yeah, I'm constantly, when I'm on the field, I'm on the court. Not all my shots go in. Like I try to pick them, try to pick them selectively, but sometimes I just have a bad game.
I
So
ain't, I ain't, I ain't never seen you hoop yet, so I don't know how good that now.
you're probably better than me. I don't hoop no. I play golf and I ride my bike.
Oh man, I
Not a
just
very
finished.
good golfer right now either. I've only played what one time so far this year, which is terrible.
I
Uh,
haven't played it all. That's something I got to get into, but I just haven't had the time, patience, and space for it yet.
yeah, it takes uh when you get used. I get the idea, right? It's like a clear head. You're out there. It's you versus your
One on
own.
one. Yep.
Yeah, but it's time consuming and it takes money. And I don't own a car, so that's another thing. You got like Uber to the golf course. It's like too much.
See.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna take a short break for this message, then come right back for more of this conversation with Elliott Johnson, the Soul Mega. We're gonna have some fun when we come back.
Consistency matters, especially when scaling hop-forward brands. That's why Haas developed LupoCore, a next-generation pellet solution designed to provide superior finished beer character alongside dependable brewhouse performance. By combining enhanced pellet technology with carefully selected Sensory Plus hops, LupoCore helps brewers achieve reliable aroma expression and reduce process loss from batch to batch. It's a seamless upgrade for breweries looking to improve hop quality while maintaining operational simplicity. Learn more at lupohops.com.
It's here. Berkeley's Fresh Chico is now available dry. So many of the brewers I talk to these days choose Fresh Chico as their house strain because of how clean and versatile it is. If you want to make world-class IPA, your fermentation has to be ultra clean. That's why brewers have been turning to Berkeley yeast because it is the only place you can get robust low diacetyl technology. That means healthy and highly viable cells that ferment fast and clean every time. At Berkeley Yeast, we worked long and hard to bring you Fresh Chico in a dried format. Now, Berkeley is the only place you can get next-generation technology in dried yeast. Period. And with bricks priced as low as $88 plus free shipping, diacetyl reduction has never been so cost-effective. Head over to berkeleyyeast.com and start leveling up your IPA today.
Malteurop has long been a pillar of North American malting, and they're growing to meet the needs of the modern brewer. Their brand new warehouse expansion at the Winona, Minnesota Malt House marks a new chapter in their commitment to service and reliability. With increased capacity and optimized logistics at the Winona hub, Malteurop is delivering the quality you expect with the speed you need. Discover the Malteurop difference at malteuropmaltingco.com.
What if the secret to a better batch of beer started before fermentation ever began? By understanding the way water chemistry impacts the sensory quality of finished beer, and by analyzing fermentation and other data, brewers can control sensory aspects of their product like never before. Sanos put together a free ebook that breaks down water chemistry fundamentals every brewer should know, No fluff, just the fundamentals. Download Water Chemistry for Brewers at senos.com. That's SENNOS.com.
All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You ready to have a little bit of fun?
Uh-oh.
So I got a list here of some rapid questions.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So let's have a little bit of fun here. All right. So rapid fire. All you got to do, you don't have to give an explanation if you don't want to. But you are speaking to an audience, so that's up to you.
Okay.
First one, lager or IPA?
IPA.
Mash paddle or spreadsheet?
Spreadsheet.
Morning brew day or night shift?
Morning.
Beer festival or tap takeover?
Tap takeover.
Why tap takeover?
I it's a little bit more intimate. The festivals are cool, but I like the festival. I think the festivals are great. A lot of energy, but sometimes the attendees are at different levels of consciousness.
Yeah,
Interact with them. So I feel like the tap takeover is a little bit more laid back.
I agree, right? So, but I do love beer festivals though. Like, if that was a rapid question to me, I would probably say beer festival if I wasn't thinking about it.
Okay.
There's something I don't know how many other brewers and how many other guys who work at breweries or work for work in these type of events, but there's a certain piece for me about standing behind a jockey box and just pouring away and then just talking a whole bunch of crap all day.
Yeah.
And it's like a to and go, to and from. So it's not like I'm not necessarily the person that will go all the way around and just start talking. That's rich. I don't do
Yeah,
that.
me and Rich
You
are
know what I
similar
mean?
like that.
Yeah. So the beer festival, but you are correct though, because after like 5 or 6 beers from folks, this is the only part about beer festivals that I don't want to say is annoying, but it runs its course every now and again. Like
Mhm.
you get somebody who's either slightly or considerably drunk, inebriated, and they have like the $1 billion brewery idea.
Oh, yeah, don't get me started. That's one of my pet peeves
What
when
y'all should do.
yeah, when a drunk person tells or it's like you should start your own brand. It's like, sir, I have my own brand. You ever thought about selling to grocery stores, sir? And the QR code, find us in Whole Foods. Like or ma'am, like yes, yeah, but I'm with you. Yeah, that's the part that I'm saying. It's like, and then you got the people who are sometimes rude, and
Yeah.
you got to be able to, politely help them move on. Like,
The worst is the last call, the
oh yeah.
last 30 minutes. And if I had an option to kind of just do away with the last call, 30 minutes and we're closing, I would say, come on, let's get rid of that. Because the line jumps and no one cares what they're drinking in the last 30 minutes.
Exactly. They're trying to get the fade on.
They
Yeah.
just they're trying
Or,
to get
or
the
their perceived value, right? Their money's worth, even though
yeah.
they've already got it.
Man, that you getting ready to get me off on a tangent. All right, two more. All right.
Okay.
Collaboration or flagship?
Oh, flagship.
Like it. Like it. Can release or draft only?
Can.
Why can?
Because the can is it's and I get really particular about this. I think draft beer is the greatest invention ever. It's the best way to enjoy a beer. But the
So
can has all of the brand elements and indicators that would make someone like visually be involved. Like, it's a way to separate yourself. It's a way to do something cool, stand out. It's information you can put on there. There's like it's like a little advertisement. Whereas the draft is kind of like if you're for people like us who don't have our own tap room, you're at the mercy kind of someone else, how they explain it to the people and like how it's being presented. And when it's in the glass, it looks like everybody else's beer.
That's a bar. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
That's a bar.
I get the economic yeah, right. I get the economics of it, but I do we had some draft leads before, but I'm always like quietly shaking my head in the background, like draft only release, like fine, I guess we'll just have to make it like, you know, social media or something. But I think the can releases are better because you can do more on the presentation.
How do you arrive at making designs on the can or making the can? Or how do you arrive at that? Like,
Um,
what's your process?
So for us, with our so mega core beers and the beers that we produce without the collabs, already, I guess maybe those two. I like to first visualize, like think about what we're trying to make, think about the flavor profiles, and then I go and get inspiration from like the street, like from Metropolis, our flagship IPA. I had an idea, dream, if you will, about the ability to make uh like the art look like it was actually on the aluminum, even though it was a sticker. And so I was on the train and I happened to look up and see like this mural on a building that was like kind of like I guess it was like train tracks. It didn't look like train tracks. It looked like kind of like an Aztec pattern or something. And I was like, oh man, like that looks sick. Uh, and so I found out who the artist was, and I reached out to him and was like, hey, like this is kind of what I'm thinking. And then he dug it. I gave him the whole pitch, about our brand, and then
Mhm.
yes, a lot of my stuff is like this part said by creative culture. To me, it's almost like you're doing an album, right? So you got like, you got the producer, the engineer, and
Yeah.
like, the lead person. So the beer is scientific in a way because it's fermentation science, but like making it is like art. And so I like to collaborate with other people who make art to make it like one thing. So all of our cans have local mural artists on them. I usually sit down with multiple ones. I just kind of talk to them, and the ones that I end up thinking get it, I usually work with them. For the collabs, same thing. Like I try to get a list and I present it to the collaborators and say, hey, like what do y'all think about this? Like for the Sunderland's collab, we're using Q Perry, who's locally in Pittsburgh, but I make a little like kind of like a mood board, if you will, and I present that.
Mhm.
That's kind of how I usually do it.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, it's like a little one pager, like a creative.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I mean, it kind of go back what I was referring to is like my degree doesn't match what I do for the business. But there always has been like a creative aspect in me from making things from scratch.
Yeah.
Um, and just to kind of like hear the mood board, like it's not necessarily a definitive direction, but it gives an artist or it gives the person looking at it different avenues and different pathways to their creativity. So I like what you talk about with the mood board stuff.
Because you don't want you want them to kind of get their shit off too. So
Yeah.
I had to learn that because our one of our teammates, so Omega, he's our creative director. He's a brand guy. Like that was his career. So I got the whole like brief thing from him. I wasn't doing that at first. When we first met, when we first started the company, that's how he talked in all the meetings. So I just got used to like presenting some type of abstract thing and then letting the meeting go off of the discussion of what the person thought about it versus being like, this is what we're gonna do. And NASA's like bullet points, tables, graphs, and this is more like all right, like this is how the beer is gonna taste, which this is what we're trying to do with it. Like, what do you think? And I have artists who it didn't work, it didn't align. Um, truth be told, our pale ale, when we met with that artist, I had an idea. He wanted to go a different direction, but that's what I may have to been a little bit more, not stern, if you will, but like, it is a service they're providing for us. So it's like, actually, no, I want you to do it this way. Like, so that was the only time I kind of had to like creative direct it myself, but usually I let them go and do their own thing.
Yeah, we could go on for another 30 minutes about you get what you pay for and creative
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah,
Uh,
the original worldwide can, he had it was like a purple design. I was like, we're not doing that. Like,
yeah, no, we told our first artist that tried to create our logo that we like sports, and we specifically named the sports that we like, and then the art that she sent back had like Ferris wheels, hockey pucks, race cars, NASCAR cars. Like I was like, okay, all right, but you get what you pay for.
that is true.
Um,
That is true.
but man, when people look back at Soul Mega 20 years from now, what do you hope they'll say you changed? Or what do you hope they'll say you changed, not just about beer, but about the people in the communities around it?
I hope that so 20 years from now, I hope they say that Soul Mega was able to help promote uh beer and craft beer into an audience that was underserved and inspire people to pursue their passion. Um, we that's kind of all my goal is to is like motivate more people to kind of follow their dreams and like, you know, really dig deep into what makes them individuals and what they're into and just not capitalize on it, but just act on it.
Yep.
Um, I think our brand is gonna has a lot of legs, I think it has a lot of momentum right now, it has a lot of opportunity. So um yeah, I think when we look back on it, we're gonna say, okay, those guys were cool in craft beer. They did these things. They were able to put creative culture on the map, and then give back to their community and kind of inspire those underneath them. And then for me personally, I hope they say that I was a okay business guy. I guess like I did okay. Like he was all right.
Here.
Like he's a fair guy, yeah. But overall, I'm just excited to see more people kind of associate with Soul Mega uh the brand and not just so much the beer. Like you're so mega. I mean, you have a criminal justice background. You with your homeboys, you're creating something from scratch, and you're directly affecting the place that you're from, right? Like you like creating you have something in you that was not uh like maybe people in your immediate circle. So I think like I said, I just want to make sure I'm like getting everybody their props and like letting everybody know, like, yeah, keep doing your thing, and like, it's okay not to be like everybody else, but just be you, you know?
I think that's solid, solid advice. I think that is a solid and outlook of what you guys and where you guys are going to be. I can definitely say that I'm proud of everything that you guys have been doing, that you have done, and that you will continue to do. Definitely want to thank you and trusting me to hop on and have this conversation.
Oh,
Think you've given a lot of insight and a lot of advice and a lot of good information to some folks out there that's not only within the beer industry, but just beer drinkers in general. So definitely want to thank you for hopping on. Thank you for coming on
yeah, thanks
and
for having
telling the
me, man.
world
It's
what you
awesome. This is awesome.
know.
Thank you.
So Elliott will be back on the next episode of this show as the host, having a conversation with a brewer of his choosing. That will be on air next week. All right. So make sure you tune in for that. And before we get out of here, a reminder visit allaboutbeer.com and follow on social media at allaboutbeer to support journalism in the space, to support journalism in the space, to support journalism in the space, specifically this beer space. Check out allaboutbeer.com/support. All right. I'm Zack Day of Funky Town Brewery.
Oh,
Peace
and
out.
Elliott Johnson, Soul Mega. You can find us at soulmega.com and Instagram at SOULMEGA.US. And look out for Doll's Garden, Funky Town Soul Mega collab with the Beer Culture Center in Chicago out now.
I wish I had an air horn somewhere in here.
Yeah, yeah. It was so cool seeing it at Flossmore's. Dude, I saw the beer at Flossmore Social, which is by my parents' house, and I was back home, and apparently a guy from my high school was like one of the owners or something. I didn't even know that, but I made sure I told everybody in the bar to get one, and the bartender was talking about it, so
Oh
that
yeah,
was cool.
we gotta go up there and visit them and sit down for a drink.
Yeah, that was cool. I had about four of them.
My man, run it
What if the secret to a better batch of beer started before fermentation ever began? By understanding the way water chemistry impacts the sensory quality of finished beer, and by analyzing fermentation and other data, brewers can control sensory aspects of their product like never before. Sanos put together a free ebook that breaks down water chemistry fundamentals every brewer should know. No fluff, just the fundamentals. Download Water Chemistry for Brewers at senos.com. That's SENNOS.com.
Today's brewers need hops that perform consistently, from pilot scale to full production. LupoMAX was engineered to meet that challenge, delivering enhanced sensory performance, reliable dosing, and scalable brewing efficiency in an easy-to-use T90 format. Backed by Haas innovation and sensory expertise, LupoMAX helps breweries create impactful hop character with confidence and control. Reach out to your Haas Sales Representative or visit lupohops.com for more information.
Tim Shasha from Berkeley Yeast here. When I was the director of brewing at Cellarmaker, there was a time when I was really wrestling with hop creep and diacetyl. I'd be dumping liters of ALDC into the tank at knockout at dry hop before cooling, just hoping that it would work. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. That's when I reached out to my friends over at Berkeley Yeast. I was like, why don't you just put the ALDC in the yeast? And the next thing I knew, Fresh Chico was born. Just like that, all my hop creep woes were gone, which was really cool. But an even bigger thing I noticed is that when I switched, all my beers were popping more. And that's when I figured out that diacetyl doesn't just mean butter. It was also dulling the brightness and intensity of my hops, masking those flavors even when D was below threshold. For me, Fresh Chico was a life changer. And now that you can get it dry, it's easy to use and competitively priced. It's the full package. Find out more at berkeleyyeast.com.
Malteurop has long been a pillar of North American malting, and they're growing to meet the needs of the modern brewer. Their brand new warehouse expansion at the Winona, Minnesota Malt House marks a new chapter in their commitment to service and reliability. With increased capacity and optimized logistics at the Winona hub, Malteurop is delivering the quality you expect with the speed you need. Discover the Malteurop difference at malteuropmaltingco.com.